the lying part is definitely nothing new.
Yeah.
But you'd think, what blows me away is I just don't get how people still think they can trust the government or the media, or that they're not constantly trying to lie to us or manipulate things. Like,
Well, it's politicians. You're asking us to, like, I mean, they built their careers online. Like, you lie about your beliefs, you lie about everything, and it's like, it's nothing new. People just, it's a new generation learning that lesson. Because the most recent last generation, they learned it during the Snowden incident. Before that, it was X thing. Before that, it was Vietnam. You know, it's just all. People are expecting something out of. You grow up and you only learn the good things about the government and the good things about history, and it's like, no, that's not how it worked. Yeah, we won X war, next war, next war, but that's cool to learn. But how about X scandal? Because I was learning, because I took AP history all through high school, right? Just because it was something I was interested in. And the fact of the matter is that was the only class that I learned about X-Gate and, you know, the Watergate scandal, all that stuff. The other kids weren't learning that stuff. You had to, like, and it was because those teachers were particularly driven to teach. Like, it boils back to just, you know, it's a fault in society at this point. You can attribute it to 1,000 things: parenting,
the
school system.
oils,
right? Okay, but like I was saying, it's just, it boils back down to there's a lot of people to blame. It's just lack of people seeking out the truth. And then whenever the truth comes out, the news is past it. No. It's the same thing with the carts that people were getting sick off, and they were blaming it on vaping. It wasn't vaping. It was people making illegal CBD cartridge, or not CBD, THC cartridges, and you know, it's lying from the politicians down to the media. Granted, I don't think it's exactly the government. The government isn't designed to lie to us. It's politicians warping what the government should be, and it's sick. It's gross. It's like, I hate to say it, but the whole pedophilia thing that's going on, it's taking advantage of weak people. Like, I mean, and I'm not saying people are weak. I'm just saying that they don't have as much power.
Yeah. Well, they're not being. Those kind of people aren't being protected either.
Yeah, and it's the fault in, I hate to say it, but humanity, not anything else.
No.
Ow! I just stabbed myself.
I don't know. I think these charts are very telling as far as trust in government and trust in media. Uh-oh, that's weird.
Uh-oh.
Internet went down. Let's hope not.
Okay.
But I mean, that's government trust. It got rough under Clinton in the beginning. 95 in the very beginning, and that might have been some of that from Bush got left over, but it went back up during W.
Well, it doesn't seem like the Clinton administration helped much with that, because
like the Monica Lewinsky stuff. Yeah,
because you got to remember, like, the image of our higher ups matters.
Yeah,
you know, even if they are averagely shady, they can't act shady, because if they do, then people stop trusting in the government.
Well, and this is crazy how much it dipped during the Obama administration too. Like, it didn't come back up at all.
Yeah,
and so many people praised him as being like this badass.
Well, that's an easy thing to explain. We had the Snowden incident. The Snowden incident was bad because everyone was talking about it. It caused so much hate for the government because they're watching everyone, and it's like, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
You know, it's power. If you have power, might as well use it.
Yep.
They're gonna. It's inevitable.
Prism. Did you ever read much about Prism?
Prism?
Yeah, the actual program that Snowden.
I watched an interview with him recently talking about it, but no, I did not. I was pretty young when it happened, relatively, obviously.
Prism. Okay, so Prism's scary, and Prism's scary for a couple of different reasons, and a lot of people were. I had a very good friend of mine. Oops! Somehow we got the caps lock on. Prism was really scary because Prism was a surveillance program that was would basically Here we go. ibttimes.com. It collected all of the metadata on everybody across the internet. Their goal was to capture every bit of information on the internet. And let's see here. What do we got here? Okay, we got Snowden's background here. Quit the CIA. Snowden, yeah.
A very interesting guy, by the way.
Okay, here we go. PRISM. That one's pretty tricky to answer. According to the original leaked slides, PRISM is a U.S. government-run program for accessing vast swaths of data from some of the world's biggest and most powerful technology companies such as Apple and Google. The slides suggest PRISM is a program giving NSA operatives direct access to the servers of these companies, giving them unfettered access to personal information of billions of people around the globe. Subsequent reports suggested PRISM is simply a tool for analyzing this vast amount of data, or a tool which operates by intercepting the data coming from and going to the servers. A theory posited following strong denials by the tech companies involved. The slides, however, suggest that PRISM is indeed a bespoke tool for accessing data directly from servers, while there are other tools available to NSA operatives which can capture data while in transit. Essentially, the specifics are not known and may never be, but we are likely to learn more in the coming weeks. So this was one of okay, here we go. Yeah, information PRISM can collect. Pretty much anything you post online using Gmail, Facebook, Skype, Outlook, or Yahoo. Then it's likely your online activities could be monitored by PRISM. From emails and instant messages to voice over IP calls, your search history on Google, operatives using PRISM could build up an extensive portfolio on any online citizen. And I know one of the things that was initially, when it was explained, when I initially heard it being explained, one of the really scary parts about PRISM was because PRISM was collecting so much data on everybody that you could essentially make it, you could paint somebody in any light just by selectively editing what kind of information you pulled off of their profile. So you could go, oh, well, he looked up this and he looked up that and he looked up this. But because you're not looking at the entire general context of why he was looking at those things, you might be able to make him look like a terrorist or a pedophile or this, that, and the other. Yeah. And that was the really scary part about PRISM, because people were like, well, if I'm not doing anything illegal, you know, what do I got to worry about? If I'm not doing anything illegal, what do I have to worry about them collecting my information? Well, that was the problem with PRISM, is PRISM can selectively collect your data and paint any picture of about any person that you want. Like, say you slept with a senator's daughter, right? And he got really mad at you. And he didn't like you or whatever. Well, he could call his buddies over in the CIA or over in the NSA and pull files from it to make you look like a terrorist and go to a FISA court and get a warrant to monitor you and do all these other kind of things, and then arrest you and then throw you in by using just the FISA court, where you don't have to have any trial, you don't have to have anything like that, and then you end up in a little hole somewhere where they completely lose the key without any trial, just because they used PRISM to label you as a terrorist to a FISA court.
Well, yeah, because honestly, like if you looked at my search history right now, you would see questions about, like, you could easily twist it into something bad. Like, I'm looking up a lot of ex-service members because I want to learn more, and then I look up a lot about adoption because I want to learn more about that. And it's like, it would be really easy to paint that into a bad light with a few modifications.
Yeah.
And you could do it to anyone you didn't like.
Yep.
And I mean, it's dangerous, and I get why they made it.
Yeah.
A lot. You can make a very good argument for the necessity of it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those power things where you're giving somebody near absolute power over people.
Yep.
And that's scary.
Well, and that was my same issue with the Patriot Act, is because that's what a lot of people like. The Patriot Act was supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and only supposed to be able to target terrorists and all kinds of other stuff like that. And it just got abused and abused and abused, and it keeps getting renewed. It keeps getting re-upped. And, you know, the original arguments I understood, but then when you started actually looking at the law and the kind of power it gave to people, man, that is scary as shit. You know, illegal searches and seizures just because you believe just because you believe that person might be suspected of terrorism and all this other shit. And it just turns into an absolute mess. And it's no wonder, you know, that maybe that's what it was. Maybe the George W. Bush and the Edward Snowden, maybe the Patriot Act and people learning more about the Patriot Act, and then PRISM as well, might explain why a lot of this stuff went down.
Well, it's because, I mean, you couldn't trust the government anymore with the power they had.
No.
And, I mean, it's scary stats. Scary stats. Because it's surprising Trump's, actually. Trump's is very surprising. This holds steady at what it is from the Obama administration to his first
Well,
term.
I mean, when you're at 20%, it's kind of hard to get much lower.
Well, yeah. I mean, during Obama, it dropped. It had a bad spike. And that was probably exactly when that Snowden incident happened, I bet. I bet you we could check it. And then, didn't that happen, like, right along the times where he kept saying that he was going to bring the troops home and didn't?
I don't know. Let's see. The low drop looks like...
2011-ish. So.
Yeah, October 19th, 2011 is the low drop. Okay, well, that says updated, but it doesn't say when the original Snowden incident happened.
Let me check.
Yeah, see if you can find it. But, I mean, it's just... And then it doesn't help... You know, the media doesn't help anything either as far as when all of that comes down. As long as when all that comes through. I mean, this is September 26th. America's trust in mass media edges down to 41%.
2011.
It was 2011?
Yep.
Okay.
November 2011.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, that makes sense because if it was November 2011 when it first started to get reported, that means all the rumors and the WikiLeaks and all that stuff came out the month before.
Yeah, it's whenever he officially blew the whistle and went on the run.
Yep, so that explains it.
That's
October 2011 is when all that stuff came out.
That is so sketchy.
Yeah, it does. Oh, well, you know,
that makes sense. That makes sense. It's just, it's sad that our... Wow, that's just sad. Nixon was the last time we had decent...
I mean...
Early Bush administration, so the beginning of the war was high.
Yeah, and then Daddy... Yeah.
When was Nixon?
Nixon's back here.
Yeah, but what year?
Nixon was 1970, 68, 70, and 72.
Okay, so it was during the beginning of right before...
Yeah, I mean,
before Vietnam.
Johnson, right at the beginning of Johnson, he had a really good average.
Yeah, that was a perfect time.
Yeah, so I mean that was
right after World War II.
Well, and it was right after the Kennedy assassination.
Yes.
So Johnson and the government, everybody was rallying behind them, and then maybe this is some of the Kennedy assassination stuff. Maybe that's when some of that stuff started to come out, and then it just kind of slowly goes down and down through Nixon, and then of course Nixon, and then Ford, and then Carter was freaking horrible. I know it's kind of hard to see Carter right there.
Reagan wasn't too bad, though.
No, Reagan did pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, at least comparatively to everybody else. And then
the next high
Daddy Bush went up, and then it was W before everything really peaked back up, and that was probably right at the height. Yeah, that was, October 6, 2001, so that was right after 9/11.
Yeah, so everybody was like, let's go and let's kill some Nazis.
Yeah, kill some terrorists.
Yeah. America loves war, dude.
But yeah.
God, we do.
So, nobody trusts the government anymore. Big shocker there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess that was our first, recent, really, our first war we got really far behind, really behind as a country.
As far as
because if you look at Vietnam stats, I mean, they were bad.
Oops, wrong one.
We did not trust the government during Vietnam.
Well, no.
Relative, obviously, but yeah, the 70s, they were not pleasant. Also, I bet you that drop. I bet you that drop in the 70s was right whenever the what was the
Watergate?
Watergate
Scandal. Oh yeah, of course. And what's really funny is Nixon did damage that we haven't really recovered from.
No,
the closest
Nixon
is W is baby, his
and
son Bush.
That's almost null and void because it was September 11th.
I know, but it's still even then
you can almost erase that line just because of what happened.
Well, I just think it's funny because Nixon did so much damage that we never came back.
No, we never did.
That's really
we never
funny.
trusted our government again.
Mm-mm.
And then Clinton, it dropped hugely. That was the biggest drop since Nixon and Ford. That's the biggest.
It was right. Yeah, he dropped. Yeah, Clinton caused it to drop.
So you can almost attribute Nixon, Ford, Carter. Now Carter probably.
I'd
Nixon,
say Ford and Carter were just kind of left alone.
Nixon, Ford, and Clinton were the biggest drops.
And Carter was just such a shit president towards the end of his presidency. I think that probably had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, that's the only reason it holds steady because they were just waiting for him to get out of office.
But yeah, and then of course Reagan brought things back up again. But yeah, dude, Clinton tanked out. I bet you that's during the 95, 94. Yeah, that's probably right around the Lewinsky scandal.
Well, it's because people realize that our government officials are not.
Yeah, they're not anybody special.
They're almost worse than the average human being. You could probably throw talking morality alone, you could throw any Joe off the street and you could
do
probably
it.
throw a lot of gangbangers off the street and be like, hey, they're better. You know, they're robbing places, but
At least they're honest.
At least they're honest about it. They're like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah. That's
You know? That's kind of sad. It's really sad because as much as people like to be like, Obama, the fact of the matter is Obama is just as fucking schemy as anybody else.
Yeah, he really was.
I mean, he was a great, like, he had a very nice voice. I'll give it to him. I liked his voice.
Yeah, he was mesmerizing.
Yeah, he had a beautiful voice. He should really take up acting. Like, voice acting? That'd be nice.
That'd be fun.
Next fucking Morgan Freeman.
That's funny.
No, but it's just, hey, and he can read off a script, right?
All right. Yeah, anybody can read off script. That's funny.
Nah, it's one of those things that it's a little sad.
That is.
Not an intended topic, but I don't like where it went.